SF MOMA invited me and my studio to participate in the Artist Soapbox Derby. It's only the third one that they've done in 40 years. The first two were held in the 1970s. When they asked the studio to participate, I of course was intrigued. Ruth Asawa is one of my very favorite artists of all time, and many parts of her philosophy around art and her process ring very true for me as well. Anyway, so it was a no-brainer. I've also never worked with the MoMA before, so it was very exciting to be asked to participate. So that's how it came about. Did I have a burning desire to make a moving vehicle? No, never. I was thinking about creating a safe cocoon, a serene, quiet space. That's immediately what I thought of. And I knew that that would be a little funny for a soapbox derby. So many soapbox derbies are, you know, big puns. They're sort of really big jokes that you get immediately when you see it. This is quieter. This is more cocoony. This piece is going to really stand up to a close examination because the knots that I'm making are very small relative to the size of our dome. So, and I love that too. I've been making art for a mere 6 years. This is my third life, so to speak. I had very long lives in the music industry and at Apple for many years. So even though I'm in my 50s, making art is new for me. And so I'm still meeting the coolest, most interesting people in this new world. And so for me, it's a chance to be a part of and contribute to the art community in San Francisco, in the Bay Area. When I think of creating an environment, right, an immersive environment, that's what I thought of as this. This is an immersive environment. I was thinking about the person sitting inside of it. And for some artists, creating an immersive environment where you control all aspects of what that environment feels like, smells like, looks like, is a dream. And I immediately thought about the pioneers of one of the first resurgences of fiber art, which were the artists Sheila Hicks, Francoise Grossin, Claire Zeisler in the late 60s and 70s, creating these incredible, many times immersive environments, creating wombs, creating soft spaces where things would happen within those spaces. So fiber is an incredible medium. I don't call myself only a fiber artist because my fascination is with the line, and a line can be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be fiber. Ruth Asawa, for example, worked with wire. So I got into knotting. My mother taught me macrame when I was a child in the 70s. I'm definitely a child of the 70s, back when macrame was sort of the hip bohemian thing to do. You know, the big plant, the white plant hangers. We made a plant hanger, and I remember loving it, but I never picked it up again. After leaving Apple, I wanted to make tangible work with my hands. That was really important to me, and I didn't know what the medium would be, so I started taking a bunch of classes, and I took a macrame refresher class to remind me how to get started, and within 5 minutes of doing the repetitive act of knotting, I went into the flow state, I fell in love with it again, and it was whole hog since then. So I got really obsessed with it and went very deep. I think of knots as artifacts of human ingenuity. Knots predate the use of fire. Knots predate the invention of the wheel. And they're wholly invented by humans. There's intentionality to a knot. And there are more than 4,000 of them documented, and they cross every kind of boundary you can think. They truly tie people together. There are knots across occupations. There are knots across oceans and borders and centuries, perceived differences between gender and occupation, all of that. So you could find let's say a lace maker in France and a sailor in South Africa, and they can't actually verbally speak to each other, but they probably know the same knots and use them in their work. First and foremost, I want to impress myself, and going big allows me is a way of doing that. My niece, who's an artist, once said that, you know, you want to make work that's bigger than you, because if you, the artist, have made work that is physically larger than you, but inherently because you are the creator of that artwork, then you're larger than the artwork. So it's about taking up that space and enlarging oneself, and that's something that I want to do. You know, I never pursued my own personal creativity in my 2 previous careers. I've been waiting, you know, I didn't start making art till I was 48 years old, so I have a lot of life experience, I have a lot of stuff to say, and I want to keep saying it. So going big is part of that for sure. When I think about my mission, there are many ways to increase awe and understanding in the world. One of those ways might be I would like to widely exhibit perhaps a multifaceted sort of roaming project called the Universal Language of Knots that sort of explicates that in not just one but several ways, and maybe it brings in other communities, other knot practitioners, especially from occupational realms. So maybe it's that, I don't know. Could be anything.